Mysterious incidents and explosions are continuing within Iran's borders, and on this occasion they have impacted Iranian military aircraft and helicopters amidst persistent accusations leveled against Israel, suggesting it is responsible for these acts. This time, a military helicopter line crashed today inside Iran. Many Iranian sources reported on it, as did important international sources and agencies such as the Associated Press. The helicopter that crashed was an AH-1J Cobra attack type, and it went down in Isfahan, central Iran. The helicopter's captain was killed, in addition to 3 others, with significant material losses. With the crash of this helicopter, the moment of its fall in this particular way occurred in one of the vegetable and fruit markets located in Isfahan. The extent of the destruction has been very significant up to this very moment. The Iranian government and its authorities have not yet provided any clear explanation as to why this helicopter crashed in such a specific and unusual manner. And naturally, we observed from the pieces and the destruction that resulted and the shrapnel from this helicopter, you can tell that it is indeed the type of Cobra attack helicopter that we are talking about. If we were to try to determine the exact nature of this particular location, to ascertain the precise direction it took, how it transpired, and whether it is truly located in Isfahan, you will naturally observe from the characteristics of the area that this site is essentially a collection of warehouses and that it fell directly towards one of them right here. The shrapnel that we are observing, or what is coming from the storage facility, and we also observe here that it appears the warehouse it landed on was directly impacted, and this is a second storage facility along with a cluster of other warehouses. We can clearly see the vegetables here, of course, or the fruits that are present, which confirms this information. But I also observe a group of warehouses for these markets with an empty space that appears to be a stopping point where the fire truck stops, as we can see here from another angle to the right of the shot. These markets are visible, and another point for the markets with this open space, of course. Therefore, by leveraging all these indicators combined with the video footage that clearly shows you the warehouses on the right, the specific point that was impacted along with these markets in this particular direction, we observe that if we direct the satellite towards Isfahan, we will clearly see that we are situated west of Isfahan, that the market is indeed located within this western region, and this is precisely the location that appears to be identical to what we are seeing. We see here a collection of markets. An empty space. Consequently, and this particular area is a strong candidate for the precise location where the helicopter had crashed. And therefore, if we quickly turn our attention to the probable corner from which the footage was captured, this would indeed be that very corner. And this roughly indicates that this specific warehouse is exactly the helicopter's point of impact. And then the side warehouses appeared, and following that, the markets we had previously discussed became clearly visible before us, such as these markets, and also those markets from the other direction. And therefore this is the point of impact, and this is the stopping point that we observed just a moment ago. Therefore, everything is confirmed by these images that we are seeing. So the exact location is clear regarding the nature of this helicopter's crash. And if this indicates anything, it means the helicopter was in this specific position heading towards the west, when it went down and then it burst into flames. Why is this specific incident considered to be so critically important and highly dangerous? It's not deemed dangerous solely because it was a military helicopter that crashed, but rather because it also went down within the city of Isfahan. This region, specifically Isfahan, where the incident occurred, is of extreme importance. It has been targeted by both Israel and the United States of America for numerous reasons. Firstly, because there is a missile base situated in that particular direction belonging to the Iranian side, and also there is an airport located there housing numerous helicopters, warplanes, radars, and various defense systems. It's clear that the helicopter and the copter had taken off from this very point until it suddenly crashed in the heart of Isfahan in this specific manner. And also the Isfahan nuclear facility situated in this direction is the very installation that was targeted by both Israel and the United States during the 12-day war last year. What makes this incident, this helicopter crash, a very serious and highly controversial matter is the fact that it occurs just 4 days after another Iranian military aircraft went down, specifically an F-4E type, which you can observe right here on the screen, and that particular plane had previously crashed in Hamadan. Please note, this location here is Isfahan, and this one over here is Hamadan. And Andy, these were some of the initial images showing the very first moments of the crash of this military aircraft. It was clearly and officially announced that the pilot of this particular plane had been killed, and he was at the time carrying out a training operation for another pilot. The problem is that the night training operation at these times, when the US could attack Iran's heartland at any moment, and Israel was also a controversial issue. At that time, Iran stated that the incident was an accident or something else. However, no clear explanations were provided regarding why this warplane went down, much like the military helicopter we're currently discussing. So within a span of just 4 days, we're looking at a military helicopter and a warplane that have crashed inside Iranian territory during extremely critical moments, and yet there are still no explanations whatsoever. One in Western Iran and one in Central Iran in highly strategic Isfahan. And when we talk about helicopters and helicopter crashes in Iran, it's a controversial issue. Why? Because in 2024, Ebrahim Raisi, the late Iranian president, experienced the final moments of his life aboard a helicopter. It was in that year, 2024, while he was returning from Azerbaijan, that the helicopter tragically crashed in this manner, leading to the deaths of himself, his foreign minister, and a number of other Iranian officials. This particular incident generated considerable controversy and widespread public interest. Why?
For it is said,
this helicopter crashed and went down. This incident occurred in May of the year 2024, which was just one single month after the first Operation True Promise, an event widely considered to be Iran's very first official missile operation. Its direct targeting of Israeli territory after Israel had struck the Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria at that time. And then things escalated significantly a month later when the Iranian president's helicopter crashed, which was quite noteworthy. An Iranian official at the time stated this was an accident with no evidence it was fabricated, and then Akitinkan said, and they closed this file. But after that, and especially following the 12-day war, and as we approach the year 2025 by its end, or in August of that year, the Iranian side began to claim that Israel was behind the downing of Ebrahim Raisi's helicopter, and thus the downing of any helicopter has serious, not so simple repercussions.
and it's also the case that
The downing of this helicopter, in a sense, clears the airspace for all types of unmanned aerial vehicles to operate at the altitudes they are looking for. Because helicopters, even if this particular one is an older model and advanced drones are capable of overcoming them, but naturally, they still pose a challenge. It will pose a challenge in one way or another for these drones. And therefore, without the presence of helicopters, which are also useful, and for this helicopter in Isfahan to fall, it will without a doubt at the tactical level prove beneficial to a certain degree, especially considering that Israeli unmanned aerial vehicles have demonstrated Iran's capability to... They managed to shoot them down. They successfully intercepted some of these drones. This particular drone is one that Iran successfully intercepted during the 12-day conflict, also in Isfahan, the very city we are currently discussing. And this specific mountain serves as a key landmark, indicating the precise location of the nuclear facility within Isfahan itself, and they shot down this drone. Therefore, this is a highly sensitive area we're discussing, and it's quite noteworthy. Today in Isfahan, there were also demonstrations that had erupted at the Isfahan University of Technology. They emerged in this particular way and manner. University protests are continuing for the 4th consecutive day, and even in Tehran, they have begun to escalate. We've had to observe that a great many clashes that the Iranian regime has begun to instigate or punish by using the message or some students or certain elements who are wearing civilian clothes had to directly confront and clash with students in general. But these demonstrations have started to escalate, and their escalation in Isfahan is a serious matter, to the extent that special units of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, specifically on the roads, began to gather and mobilize around schools and universities because they started to see that these demonstrations were beginning to take on another form of challenge to the Iranian regime. It appears these demonstrations are occurring in continuous waves, and they absolutely must gain control over them. And any American strike, in whatever form, deep within Iranian territory, could cause them to completely lose control of these protests, and the Iranian regime would then collapse with extreme rapidity. With all these circumstances of warplanes falling, the military helicopter crashing, the demonstrations, there is a significant mobilization clearly documented by the Washington Post, which confirmed after the second round of nuclear negotiations that had taken place in Geneva on the 17th of February. The United States has dispatched more than 150 aircraft to its bases located across Europe and the Middle East. And just yesterday, the nature of these military shipments was precisely in this manner, originating from the United States, heading to Europe and the Middle East region. Now you'll notice from the recordings, specifically right here below, that there are many C-17 military cargo planes. As we can observe, just yesterday they had flown towards Europe and also the Middle East region. Also, for the second consecutive day, reconnaissance operations are continuing, which the United States of America started leading specifically from the Greek island of Crete rather than from Al Udeid Air Base. Most of the RC-135 rivet joint spy aircraft are now deployed in this region, and consequently, they usually Tanker aircraft is observed flying in this particular direction, heading towards Iraqi airspace approximately, and then it subsequently returns. Consequently, there is a specific aircraft that is responsible for providing it with fuel from the reconnaissance planes. But also, and more importantly, the NATO AWACS E-3 Sentry aircraft, after its arrival in Turkey for the second consecutive day, is now carrying out reconnaissance operations that are heading towards northwest Iran, specifically towards Tabriz. It is one of the important early warning aircraft that appeared today, flying in this manner and gathering intelligence at a depth of 400 kilometers. And note that this recording from today clearly shows you that this aircraft is indeed flying in the manner we've been discussing. This also applies to the refueling planes that fly from the Greek island of Crete, which we've previously mentioned. Many such refueling aircraft have been observed flying and reaching the Mediterranean Sea, for example, over Israel, and then subsequently disappearing once they enter Iraqi airspace.
it is widely believed that AWACS aircraft stationed in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
There are 6 of these aircraft that also fly with their tracking devices turned off, and they are refueled by other aircraft for the purpose of gathering intelligence from Iraqi airspace, specifically over Iranian territory, over western Iran, including, of course, Hamadan, where the warplane we are discussing crashed. And this is part of the updated imagery that has been provided by Chinese satellites, which clearly shows at Prince Sultan Air Base in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia a total of 6 AWACS aircraft. Yesterday, there was a recording showing it was from one of the AWACS aircraft. How did we know that this recording belonged to an AWACS aircraft? Notice here, this symbol represents the E-3 Sentry airborne warning and control system. And this symbol clearly indicates that it is a 100% military aircraft. Furthermore, the SATCOM visible here and its active operation on this aircraft clearly show that there is an ongoing reconnaissance mission. It's highly probable that these aircraft are conducting reconnaissance operations from an unknown airspace, and it's likely one of those is Iraqi airspace. With yesterday's events, it confirms that reconnaissance operations continue even by the British side. A KC-3 refueling aircraft designed for aerial refueling has appeared from Cyprus, specifically from Akwatiri, their designated base. It's been observed clearly flying over Iraqi airspace, providing in-flight refueling to other aircraft, apparently for intelligence gathering purposes. Is it exclusively collecting intelligence concerning Iran? What about the Iraqi factions that issued a threat stating they would support the Iranian regime if strikes were to begin deep inside Iranian territory? Furthermore, 2 C-17 transport aircraft loaded with weapons, military supplies, and various military equipment were observed heading towards the Diego Garcia base. And a clear satellite image from Diego Garcia today shows that as of this very moment, there are no strategic bomber aircraft present, such as the B-2, the B-1B Lancer, or even the B-52 Pani Shana 52 planes. It appeared there was an increase in Pieta Watad Poseidon reconnaissance aircraft, as well as 3 refueling aircraft, along with approximately 3 transport planes for American soldiers. There is a great deal of ambiguity surrounding the true nature of all these flights and why this specific type of aircraft, these spy planes, are present in Diego Garcia. Furthermore, military shipments between Baku in Azerbaijan and Israel are continuing. A plane was observed today heading towards Eilat to apparently load Israeli military equipment for transport to Baku, Azerbaijan, which is considered extremely dangerous for the Iranian capital, Tehran. And one of the where the destroyers also suddenly appeared, or rather German frigates off the Israeli coast. This happened as the USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier was approaching the Israeli coast. All this is amidst preparations that are certainly not easy for the Iranian heartland. Therefore, to put it briefly, what we are witnessing now is a clear process of mobilization and intelligence gathering. This is the Gerald R. Ford. It is still in Crete and is expected to remain there until next Thursday. Within the next 48 hours, we are supposed to see the aircraft carrier off the Israeli coast. The USS Abraham Lincoln is currently positioned towards Iran. Information gathering continues even over Iraqi airspace and over Turkish airspace. This intelligence gathering could therefore be extremely important for what the United States of America will target, and it appears that what is coming regarding the nature of the negotiations or the message sent by Ali Al-Arjani. Today it is believed that Ali Al-Arjani will deliver a message to the other side. So, damn the Omani statement regarding the nature of Iranian conditions in the nuclear issue, or even concerning Thursday's matter, the negotiations and the awaited third round. However, Israel had indicated that things are not going well and that there are deep doubts that Iran's proposal, scheduled to be submitted on Tuesday to the Omani foreign minister, that is specifically today, will include
Have there been any changes?
Will there be any major changes from previous offers? It seems unlikely a breakthrough will be achieved at the next Geneva meeting. We're referring to next Thursday's meeting. It's clear that the United States will possess intelligence, and Israel will also possess intelligence. Is it possible that we might witness a strike before Thursday? Could it potentially happen tonight or perhaps tomorrow? Or is the United States still carefully considering the matter of launching an attack deep within Iranian territory?